Hello and welcome to the Success Secret podcast with your host Hussein Talib. I am excited to introduce you to a series of conversations with some of the most successful and inspiring individuals from various industries. My aim is to dive into the stories behind their success and explore the knowledge, strategies, habits, mindsets, and wisdom that have propelled their success. Each episode of the Success Secret podcast will feature a different guest who will share their unique journey, the challenges they faced, and the lessons they have learned along the way. I will also be covering topics from entrepreneurship and innovation to leadership and personal development. Whether you are an inspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business professional, or just someone looking to improve your life, the Success Secret podcast is for you. My goal is to bring you valuable insights and inspiration that will help you achieve your own success in business and life. So get ready to learn and be inspired. The Success Secret podcast starts now. In this episode of the Success Secret podcast, we are going to be talking about systems, CRMs, and aligning your sales and marketing strategy for success of your CRM. Introducing Ryan Pollyniak, a seasoned sales professional with a rich background in the Microsoft Dynamics space. Before joining Western Computer in 2015, Ryan spent time with an ISV in the Microsoft Dynamic ecosystem, working closely with partners to sell products to other companies, catering to medium to large businesses. Ryan is well versed in ERP and CRM strategies and heavily involved in the Microsoft Dynamic channels. Ryan, welcome to the Success Secret podcast.
Hi, Hussein. Thanks for having me on, sir.
So this is the Success Secret podcast. What does success means to you? And what do you see other people you work with or your team or other businesses have certain misconceptions around success?
Yeah, great question. So we work with lots of companies who are looking to implement or improve the use of their CRM systems and drive efficiencies with sales and marketing. Success to us is helping companies achieve their goals and having a company at the end of an engagement say, that was worth it. We're more than happy to sing the praises of Western Computer. It's helped our business. And if we've done that, if we've actually helped the customers achieve their goals, then we've achieved our goals. So that's what success means to us. Now, I think, some pitfalls in terms of success would be basing it purely on budget, right? You want to make sure that you are achieving your goals in any kind of engagement that you have in terms of technology, business process automation, artificial intelligence, which is such a buzzword these days. It's very difficult to look at it from a dollars and cents perspective, which of course is important to every business, and everybody's got a bottom line that they're driving towards and a budget number that they're constrained by. But the long-term value of an engagement is in its success. Not in it being 100% of budget or 120% of budget or 80% of budget. Help understanding, what your company's trying to do and how you can get there with technology and then making that happen. The return on investment is tremendous, tremendously more than the costs that go into it. So I think it's more important to define success by achieving goals rather than by, achieving budget.
Talking about ERPs and CRMs, now businesses and even individual running certain things nowadays, with everything like you mentioned evolving very fast and AI, a lot of things, we need some things or tools that would help businesses or companies to navigate, like I would say maybe the overall picture of the whole business under one umbrella. So does this where the CRM systems come in for businesses?
Yeah, well, CRM is going to encompass a certain subsection of the business, right? You have things like financial management and inventory management, supply chain management that are going to live elsewhere. But certainly in terms of sales and marketing and business development, the heart of that really should be at a CRM for any organization. We talk to companies all the time who are managing sales interactions, prospecting, pipeline, leads in Excel, in Outlook, on paper, in antiquated systems that have not been adopted by their user base, by their salespeople, by their sales managers. And there's a tremendous cost to that long term. Having an aggregated set of contacts and interaction history and an opportunity pipeline and updated set of contact information in one place, consolidated in a CRM system, is really the key to driving organizational growth and making you know hitting the sales targets that you have. It's very difficult to do this in a manual process, and if somebody leaves the organization and they take their knowledge with them and they take their Excel sheet or their notebook with them and it's gone, there's a huge cost to that to any organization. So there's an element of governance there where you're going to have to mandate to a certain degree that your sales team is utilizing CRM in the way that you have intended, and in order to achieve that, there has to be a top down requirement to use the system. And when you have some systems, right, if you're receiving inventory or if you're driving your accounting, you can't run the business without executing those functions. CRM is not that way. If a CRM is not easy to use and if it's not beneficial to a salesperson, it's not going to be used. And so, user adoption is the other side of that. You have to mandate it from the top down, and you have to make it easily usable, and you have to make it advantageous for your sales team, and help them understand that it is there to help drive success for them, and to hit their own goals. And I have a long history in sales, and I could not have done it without a CRM and without properly implementing a CRM.
Yeah, definitely. It's very important. But now, like you mentioned in your speak now, there might be some certain things that we use it as manual, like Excel sheets and sometimes notepads, or who would use it one person. So this is like it's not good to have one person having all of this CRM in regards to sales, marketing, customer success, I would say, because like I mentioned, if that person is gone, who would see to continue the process of things for the CRM or the whatever it is that they are operating with. So, in your opinion, what are the most important, let's say, elements that a CRM should have?
Yeah, and you nailed one, which is, I would not recommend developing an in-house CRM or buying a CRM from a very small company. And it's for the reason that you mentioned, Hussein, which is that just like the person walking out the door with their notepad, if the person who developed your internal CRM finds a new job, you're out of luck, right? So investing in a market leading CRM, of course, my organization is a big believer in Microsoft Dynamics. That's a great example, right? Hundreds of thousands of companies use this product. And if the person who configured it walks out the door, there are thousands more people that you can go hire to backfill that, right? There are other CRMs that are the same way in the marketplace. And so you want to have that backing of a world-class company, someone who can, you know, not only provide uptime reliability and ongoing development and feature enhancement for the platform that you're using, but a platform that can provide you with some redundancy in terms of resources who can manage it. If it's a small market platform, you do run some risk of losing the person that owns it and being out of luck, especially if it's developed internally. So I would say developing an internal CRM is a bit like keeping a notepad in that regard. From a business risk, there's tremendous amount of it. Your final question there was, you know, what makes a CRM great, or what's important for a CRM? In my opinion, and this is something Microsoft is fantastic at, it's connecting to the tools that you already use to communicate with your customers. So if you're emailing, something that communicates with your email platform, typically that's Outlook. Sometimes it's Google. Sometimes companies are leveraging Teams for chat or for meeting invitations. You know, that's how you're communicating with your customers. So having a CRM that respects that communication layer and automatically archives it It's tremendously important, right? If I send you an email, Hussein, about a proposal that I've submitted, I want that tracked in the CRM. I don't want to have to go spend a bunch of time doing it either, right? I want to have it so that, I can go back and I can look at your record in my CRM and I could say, okay, yeah, I sent an email to Hussein about X, Y, and Z on X date, and here's what it said. And then I can communicate back to you effectively. I don't know about you, but I can't remember every communication that I've had with every customer ever, right? So I need a system to do that, and one that respects those channels of communication is probably the number one thing.
So basically, what the most important thing in a CRM system is to be client centric. So because you want to have the ease of communication with your clients in regards whether to sales, marketing, how you communicate with them, if they have maybe complaints, feedback, whatever it is, and to keep on the uh, messaging them for the future because clients should be served for the long haul. I would say it's not just one transaction and you're done with the client that you have. You should be, let's say, nurturing your clients. So the CRM makes it easier for businesses and companies to actually do that in a simpler manner instead of like juggling multiple things with paper or Excel sheets.
Yeah, absolutely. And so client centric, yes, absolutely. But being client centric, that includes considering how your organization operates and communicates, right? If your organization uses Outlook and Teams and Excel and Word and these types of applications, you need a CRM that works with these, right? And then the end result of that is improved communication, improved visibility to what you've discussed with the client, and the end of the day, that drives that client centric ideal that you're mentioning. Absolutely, you want a CRM that will remind you. Hey, you emailed Hussein 7 days ago. You haven't heard back. You may want to send him an email. And so we're opening up a brave new world of artificial intelligence where that kind of automated assistance is real world, and it's certainly something that you should look for in a CRM as well.
Yeah, so you fully support having AI integrations with the CRM system, and you do you think that if a CRM system does not have AI support now, is a loser?
100%. And let's be perfectly honest. AI is still cutting edge, so nobody has it fully figured out. But the big players in the market, certainly Microsoft, have a huge advantage in terms of the technology foundation that they have with AI, because a homegrown system or a small company, they're not going to have that backing, they're not going to have that foundation, they're not going to have that long-term vision where organizations need to be utilizing AI, or at least considering how they plan to utilize AI in the future, or you will get left behind. And I do think, it's important to say AI it's not going to replace your sales team. It's not going to replace your marketing team, and it's not going to come take your job if you're a salesperson or a marketer. But it will enhance your employees' ability to do their jobs, drafting emails, setting up meetings more efficiently, trimming down the amount of time that it takes to do any of these typical tasks. And then if you are a salesperson or a marketer, AI may not be coming for your job directly, as in, you're going to be replaced by a robot, but somebody who's effectively using AI, on the other hand, may be coming for your job. So it's very important to understand these tools and understand how to use them. Um, you can use AI in a number of ways, right? Streamlining that communication, like I mentioned, or getting summaries of information and summarizing data, generating content if you're a marketer, creating pitch decks, creating visualizations, graphs, charts in Word or Excel. That's all available now, and that extends, right? I mean, following up by scoring opportunities and leads and saying, okay, I'm a busy salesperson. I've got a quota to meet, and I want to focus on the leads that are most likely to generate some business from my organization. AI can score leads for you. It can tell you what a customer has or a potential prospect has looked at and score the lead and prioritize your day on your behalf. And that's tremendously important. So there are all kinds of ways that AI can improve your team or improve your personal sales performance.
So that's because like when we talk about CRM, it's mainly focus on sales, marketing, and the customers. But do you think that, for example, that me personally, I see CRMs that could have more functions in that, like maybe you mentioned earlier, financial things or financial papers or accounting for the business. So do you think that the best CRM systems or platforms to use the one are that focused or niched on to certain things like focus on sales, marketing, and customers, or do you think it's a good idea to have systems that could replace every tool that you have for your business in one place, maybe?
There are a lot of layers to this question. So let me say, first of all, I do firmly believe that, ERP and CRM are really two different worlds. Usually you're going to see enterprises up to the Fortune 500. You're going to have separate platforms for CRM and ERP if you need full functionality, right? Financial management, supply chain management, warehouse management has a lot of auditability requirements that you don't have on the CRM side. And you may not want every lead and everyone who crosses your sales and marketing team's desk to live in your ERP system, right? That's later when they're a customer and you're billing them and you're invoicing them. So I think that CRM you mentioned at the beginning something that caught my ear. Looking at CRM from a purely feature perspective is a little bit of a pitfall, right? You may find somebody who's built a CRM specific for your industry, and it's very easy to get sucked in a demo and say, okay, I work in a nonprofit industry, and this CRM is great because instead of you know customers, it says donors, and that means something to me, right? Or maybe you work in another industry that has some specific requirements. Maybe you're a home builder and you want to have a CRM where you can go and have somebody choose options to build a home. If anyone's ever built a home, what doorknobs do I want? What paint finish do I want? What granite countertops do I want? And while features are important to some degree, platform is in my opinion far more important, where you get a solution that is strong from a technology standpoint, that's strong from the standpoint of something like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, something that's hosted and secure, and then that's also flexible. And so, for example, Microsoft Dynamics, right? It's very configurable. It's a no code, low code platform where if you need to do things that it doesn't do out of the box, you're not developing code. You're not paying a developer to write code to fix it or to make it do what you want. You're configuring it, and you can train people inside of your organization to do that, so that then it becomes, a ball of clay that you can make what you want with it. But when you do make what you want with it, you still have that strong foundation of technology and support and security and AI and all those things that you're going to need, right? So I don't think out of the box feature set would be my number one, decision point if I were a sales director, VP of sales, choosing a CRM for my organization. I would start with technology foundation and flexibility. Am I going to need a developer to make a change in this platform, or can I use settings, configuration to do what I want?
Yeah, it's very important. Like you mentioned there, we need some kind of systems that also can grow with the business. You don't want some kind of a system that have some kind of limitations. It's very important to have flexibility in the system, like you mentioned, with a little bit of coding if available, so you have certain things customized for your business and have the potential to grow as the business grows. That's very important, and not have certain limitations. So into that, what is the, let's say, worst advice that you have ever received, someone told you, in business in general or in regards to ERP or CRMs?
That's a great question. Wow, let me think about that one for a moment. I mean, going back to the feature thing, right? It's I've seen companies get sucked in by flashy demos that do X, Y, and Z. And so imagine not knowing any of what's going on behind the curtains and just looking at features, right? This could be one person who's developed this application and maybe he lives, in a basement somewhere, and he's got his cousin that's supporting it, and that's it. You don't want to tie your business, your enterprise, to an organization like that, regardless of what the application does from a feature standpoint. So I think that getting sucked in, by flashy features is probably the number one pitfall that I've seen customers, fall for in the past. Whereas it's much more difficult to take a step back and understand what is the organizational depth of the company who's created this? What are the support options? What happens if the person who created it walks out the door? What happens if the company folds? Right? Is there somebody else I can go to leverage this? And that helps mitigate business risk. So um, I think that's probably it.
We need to make sure the systems that we working on are sustainable, reliable, and trustworthy, and scalable at a certain point for the business to
And secure,
yeah,
right?
so that's very important because we have certain data that are could be very sensitive for the business to have. So, what would be your final point or final takeaway for the people who are listening to this episode?
Well, I would say that, if you're looking to scale your organization, it always comes down to sales and marketing. And there's a certain amount that you can do manually. There's a certain amount that you can do in Excel and on paper and in systems that aren't being used. Um, at some point, to really drive growth, CRM is going to be required, and it's going to have to be implemented in a manner in which your people are going to adopt it. And that might be painful and costly out of the gate. Maybe you have salespeople that have been doing it one way for 15 years and they're going to be resistant to change. There's a change management element that will come into play where you've got to articulate why the change is coming, help your sales reps and your marketers understand that you're making their lives easier and that you're driving success in their job roles with the change and not trying to come in and ruin their lives, right? You're helping. And so that organizational change management has to start before you begin any project. I've seen companies try to adopt a CRM, and the first time some of the people have seen it is when they're being trained on it and they say, well, we're going live on this in 2 weeks. The process owners have to be involved along the way. Maybe not every end user, but certainly the managers and the owners of the processes need to be involved in selecting a CRM and need to be involved in, more importantly, implementing a CRM and making the design decisions so that your people actually end up using it. Because CRM, the biggest pitfall is user adoption. We've seen it a million times with different companies, and so I would say matching that up and involving your team along the way. Very, very important. And there's going to be a little bit of pain, but the growth on the other end of it will be well worth it.
Yeah. The learning curve for anything is a pain usually, but the easier it is for the future to have a simpler CRM that integrates all the things that we mentioned, like for example, scalability, security, and other things that are important for businesses to grow and have the security for the people that are in our care. That's very important. So, Ryan, where can people learn more about you, what you do, and your business and see how they can contact you.
Yeah, absolutely. So our company is Western Computer. We're a Microsoft Dynamics partner. We implement CRM all the time. It's what we've been doing for 20 plus years. ERP as well, accounting, finance, supply chain. So you can go to westerncomputer.com. You'll get someone on the chat. Also, feel free to directly message me on LinkedIn if you like. Ryan Pollyniak, spelled like Polly, Pollyniak. Come find me on LinkedIn. If you have a question, I'm more than happy to engage. It's what I've been doing for over 15 years now, and I'm passionate about it. So if you want to chat, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Ryan Pollyniak, for joining me for this episode of the Success Grid podcast. We were talking about CRMs and ERPs and how important it is to have a system that suits the business growth and have the security features that are protecting the business and the customers and help them with sales and marketing for future growth. Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks for having me, Hussein.